How to get casted for Netflix's upcoming live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender. A recent question that I sometimes get from people is if I know anything about how to get casted for Avatar: The Last Airbender, Netflix's live-action adaptation of the beloved Nickelodeon cartoon back from the early 2000s. At the moment, very limited information has been disclosed about the casting dynamics for the show, other than the promise of an open casting call at some point in time. To be quite frank, I won't be able to provide any specifics on the show itself because other than the producers, no one would really know anyway. But I have worked in the United States and in China as an actor, and I have some understanding of how casting works. There are a couple of things that you can do to improve your chances of being casted for what should be the best show of all time. Number 1, cultivate your craft. Whether you're a professional actor or not, whether you have an agent or not, whether or not you're part of the actors union, which I'll describe what that is exactly in a bit, you can always find ways to craft your acting skills. Acting classes are an obvious answer to this issue, but that might not be accessible or financially feasible for some people. I understand. Acting classes can be grossly expensive and might not even be that helpful, to be honest. It really depends on the teacher, it really depends on the class itself. There are cheaper acting classes online, and that might be more feasible during this pandemic, and there are a lot of acting books that you should consider reading. Here are 2 acting books that have been recommended to me by some of my closest acting friends, and I really recommend them because the Practical Handbook for the Actor provides a lot of basic foundations and techniques of how to analyze scripts and how to kind of grasp an understanding of acting itself. And Meisner's method is just kind of what every actor should know anyway. So please take a look at these 2 if you have some time. As with any sort of profession, these classes and books will not guarantee that you will become better at your craft, but it will guide you on the basics and foundations for what you need to pursue your passion. You will learn really simple things such as what eye lines are. What's an eye line? Eye lines are where actors look at during the scene, because obviously acting in front of the camera or when you're acting on stage, you might be looking at something or pretending to look at something that's not necessarily really there, but you have to use that as a point of reference. A lot of other details and techniques that people overlook as actors include breathing, observing the beats and rhythms of a scene, and a lot of people don't know how to analyze scenes. I'm still working on that myself, but the 2 books I showed you will get you started on that. Again, you might not be able to master these skills by yourself, but you can certainly get started by yourself. When you go to your Avatar open casting call, it's going to be obvious who tried to craft their skills and who's just kind of winging it. Number 2, try to find acting work. This is a bit difficult during this coronavirus pandemic, but once everything settles, you may need to move to one of these 4 locations: Los Angeles, Atlanta, New Orleans, or New York. These 4 cities have numerous casting agencies for new actors, and you don't have to pay anything. I personally signed up with Central Casting, which is located in these 4 cities. They're the largest background casting agency and the easiest one to sign up with when you're starting out. This is how I got started in LA, and I've been casted in a few shows such as The Goldbergs, Superstore, Grey's Anatomy, American Housewife, and a few more. Getting onto set as an actor is really important. It's very important to have that experience and to start building up that endurance that you will need as an actor. Believe it or not, actors can easily have 12 to 16-hour workdays. It's physically exhausting, and a lot of people can't handle it. Getting onto set also teaches you how filming itself happens, how extras are handled, how principal characters are handled, how the director interacts with actors. You need to observe all of that. I personally advocate for pursuing any opportunity you can get to get onto set. It doesn't matter if it's in a background role or principal role. It's just really important. You just get acting experience and you have the chance to work with directors one-on-one, and that kind of feedback, that kind of interaction is really important for your growth as an actor. Sometimes you might even get free classes, such as a brief acting workshop or a brief stunt workshop to prepare for a specific background role. You might even get the chance to be featured or given a line by the director, just depending on the situation. The probability of that isn't high, but it can happen. As a personal anecdote, I was working on a TV show with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and I was very privileged and lucky that he picked me out for a specific scene and he featured me, even though I just started out as an extra. And also the guy is really, really cool. He's a lot of fun, and I was really honored to have that chance to get some feedback from him during a scene. The other dynamic that's kind of cool is that, yes, you do submit yourself for projects, but once you're with a casting agency, they submit you. I have this calling service that just threw my application out there, and then I got a text message saying that, okay, I have to show up to set for Grey's Anatomy, and I was casted as a paramedic. It's really cool to go on that show, and it was really cool to just be on that set and gain that acting experience as well. One misconception that people seem to have is that they think doing background work or becoming an extra is not hard, or it's not competitive. It's actually very competitive. There are many people who might apply for 50 different kinds of jobs or 50 different roles, and they might only get one. There are a lot of people who want to get onto set. It's not just easy competition, or it's not just anyone can become an extra. I should phrase it this way. It's not that anyone can get onto set for any show. It depends on what kind of characters they're looking for. It depends on the casting notice. It depends on who they need to cast for what specific scene, or even if it's a period piece, they might need a specific ethnicity. It just really depends. And as I emphasized before, the work itself could be tiring. There are long hours. You might be filming in tough weather, and you need to be prepared to do a scene dozens of times. For example, when I was working on American Housewife, I was casted as a high school student, and we did the same scene for 6 hours in a row. It was fun, but it was exhausting. Finding acting work is imperative because you want to come to the Avatar open casting call with some experience on set and proof that you can handle the long working days, and just proof that you are taking this seriously and that you are able to participate in projects and that you have a history of working on film.